How's it going, guys? Back again for day 29 of our resolutions to reality video diary. Hair looking crazy. I just took it down. It is 11:42, January 29th. I just got off work. Got home a little early today because we left at like 11:15 instead of 11:30. So that was pretty cool. Not that tired. It's not too cold out either. I also got my headphones with the microphone on them, so this should make the sound a little better. If it doesn't, then I'll just listen to it after I'm done recording and see how it sounds and determine whether or not I'm going to do this again next time, based off of the quality. So anyway, so we are at 23 degrees, and today was a pretty chill day. It was my first day, full shift of overtime at work. So I'm glad to be doing that. Also, spent a lot of the day. It was pretty chill. Spent a lot of the day hanging out, talking to Brandon, and doing stuff in between, keeping busy. Overall, it was a pretty smooth day. I'm kind of hungry, so I'm trying to decide what I want to eat. So last night I ended up going to Lacey's, and didn't stay very long. Came back home. We kind of got into a little disagreement about coming back here and the weather and stuff like that. So I just came home, went to bed, and got up for work. Got home at like 6. Left at like 5. Overall, I do think there's some things that need to be talked about between us and some things that need to be figured out. I still feel like a tension between us from Monday, and I'm not surprised about that. Personally, I do take accountability for the things I did that were, in her eyes, disrespectful or anything like that. But I think my biggest issue now is what I feel like is the lack of accountability for how I've been treated. And I think that's resonating with me a lot more than I expected it to. Mainly because it's like, I felt like the right thing to do for this situation was to be sincere and apologize for the things that I made a mistake about, causing and doing, which was really just wanting to bring them back to my house and not wanting to stay at her parents' house. And having like a bit of an attitude about it because I didn't like where the arrangements were for us to sleep there. Super uncomfortable. So I just didn't grasp the fact that, it was that important to her to want to relocate, want to stay there when I knew there was a much more comfortable environment here, regardless of what time it was, because, I don't work early in the morning, so I didn't really care about the time. I just wanted to get out of there, but she didn't want to. So I took accountability for that. Dang, that's an ugly dread. I took accountability for that, and this one needs cut. I need to cut this end. I hate these little rinky-dink ends. Usually just cut them. Like, I don't like that. I'll cut like right there off. But I apologize, and she didn't feel the need to, take any accountability for, anything she could have did. She's under the impression that she did everything she could to make me comfortable, and that's fine. But maybe I'm just misreading the whole situation, and I'm not giving it enough understanding. But anyhow, I've been thinking about some other things that I wanted to include into my resolutions. I think I'm gonna try to start adding another element of resolutions each month. And I think, well, I'm not thinking, I know for a fact what my next like resolution or like concept I'm going to enact for February is going to be, and these will last throughout the end of the year and on until further notice. I feel like I got something in my hair, some kind of plastic. But anyway, so for February, starting after Monday, 12 a.m. Monday, February 1st, the next resolution that I'm going to enact, since I've successfully completed the quitting smoking and what I've said I was going to do for January. Since January's been such a successful month, I'm going to push myself a little further. And I'm going to start to practice, this is not specifically for this reason, but it's going to happen regardless because of what I'm trying to do. But I am going to start in a inadvertent way. I'm going to start practicing semen retention. And I think that will help for a few different reasons. Not just because of what I've heard from semen retention, because I really don't have any kind of agreement with what the concept is about and how people are explaining it. I'm really going to start doing it mainly because I want to take the rest of the year off from not just like ejaculation, but from sex, period. Like, I have made up my mind the farthest I will go with anyone else, most likely just Lacey, but the farthest I will go is kissing, and that's for the rest of the year. As crazy as it sounds, and as hard as it sounds, and as wild as it sounds, I was thinking to myself on the drive home last night from Anderson that nothing has had the amount of control over my mind and my urges and my attention the way women have and sex has. Hence the 7 kids. So the path that I'm trying to go down is going to require me to gain my control back over that. And I think that the people who are going to have issues with that and that aren't going to understand where I'm coming from with that are the ones that are probably holding me back from getting to where I'm trying to go. It's probably just dead weight. But I think for the most part, it's going to enhance and refocus my view on women, their feelings, my own urges, my own, like, where my attention is at. Because I feel like a lot of the things that I have an interest in and that I have, as far as like projects and hobbies and things that I do as far as like a spare time type thing, I think a lot of that is filled up with sexually based interests. And I feel like that might have increased since, I've taken so much time away from what I used to do. So I used to spend a lot of my time smoking and hanging out with people who smoked and doing things to be able to smoke and finding ways to smoke. So now that that time is freed up, I think I might have filled up that time with a little more masturbation, sex, looking at porn and things like that. So I'm gonna try to clear that from my schedule as well to get back to more productive hobbies. Get back to my focus on my shoes, my focus on my cars, my focus on cutting hair and doing stuff like that. There's so many other things that I could do. My focus on my relationships with other people. I feel like a lot of these relationships that I have or that I've held on to for so long are connected to a habit that I am trying to get rid of. Like, since I haven't been smoking, I haven't talked to a lot of my really close friends that I thought were my really close friends. I haven't been around them, I haven't seen them, haven't talked to them. And I haven't really wanted to, because not because just the fact that they still smoke or drink or do things that I don't do. But it's just like I'm in like that zone where it's like, these things that I'm trying to change are delicate. And no one's really aware of the changes that I've made unless you watch my channel, because it's the only place I've really broadcasted it. So I want to make that like a staple of this series as well, because like I said, sexuality has been a super big part of what I indulge in. Like I said, hence the 7 children. But I need to take control back of that, and I need to refocus, my attention and my efforts. And I think being 30, I read something on Instagram today that said, from 15 to 30 is like the prime time of your life. There's a big difference in enjoying it and ruining it. And I think the path that I've taken, not the having kids part, but the sexually driven focus that I've could have, if not put into perspective, could be the thing that ruins me. Not that I'm not capable of my responsibilities that I have at this point, and that I've bit off more than I can chew. Not to say that, because I feel well capable, definitely capable enough to handle the things that I've gotten myself into responsibility wise. But I do feel like if adjustments aren't made in that realm, as well as the other realms of addictions that I have, then my progress will be made. It will be slower to make. And I'm not exactly sure what kind of challenges that I'm going to face, making this a new part of my series or a part of my resolutions, but I'm open to it. I didn't expect, don't get me wrong, we've come a long way in these 29 days. Like, I've shed blood, sweat, and tears to get over smoking. That was one I thought would be the hardest. And it has been pretty tough. So I know that it's taught me a lot about myself. It shows me, how my emotions were affected. It's made me emotional. It's made me more in touch with things that I've tried to avoid. It's helped with my memory. I can remember things better now. And I could definitely see the improvements. Only thing I don't think has improved is like my waistline. Like I feel like not smoking anymore has definitely made me more hungry. And food is definitely, it's like a hand to mouth complex when you're like a social smoker. Like you just constantly putting something in your mouth. Like when I'm at work, I got that cup. My mom gave me that Under Armour rock cup. And I'm constantly drinking that. I usually just drink tea or juice or not pop because I'm not a really big pop person. But it's just like back and forth to my mouth, back and forth to my mouth. And it's like, that's the same thing that smoking is, that hand to mouth complex. And it's like you're constantly filling yourself up. And they say once you quit smoking that, you usually do gain a few pounds. And I haven't weighed myself, but I would assume that I have definitely went down that road of putting on a couple pounds, which I'm not mad about. I know I could fix that too because it's much easier to lose weight than it is to stop smoking. And I've never really had a big issue with weight. I've never had a really big problem with eating. I don't really have a big appetite like that. I feel like it's just like, having just stopped doing that, it kind of fell into place behind it. And I'm not really worried about that because I know I can discipline myself better now that I can show myself that I can stop smoking. I know I can show myself that I can stop eating too. And I do also plan on getting into a regimen of fitness on down the road. I don't know if that'll be next month or the month after that, but I'm gonna pace myself so that, all of these things aren't causing too much turmoil at once. That's why I'm kind of like focusing on one big thing per month. And then just getting those 30 days out of the way, because they fly by actually. These 30 days that I've been without smoking have flown by. And I've kept a tally of every day, and that's something else that makes me want to accomplish something more is when I start, like, I have dry erase boards that I start tallying. Like, I started tallying from January 1st. So now on my dry erase board, it started off January 1st, 2020. That was the date I put down, so I knew when it started. And then I just tallied every day after that. From every day that I didn't smoke, I would tally because, that was an accomplishment. And now that I've completed the whole month, I changed the date from January 1st, 2022 to January 31st, 2022, which is just like a heads up of, hey, this month is over. You got 31 days, which is every day of the month, which means you conquered the month of January. You did what you said you were going to do. You got every day used for breaking a really hard habit to break. So now I changed it to the 31st to remind me that don't forget, come February 1st, we're starting a new one, which is, I don't like calling it semen retention because I feel like it's like super vulgar and like it's focusing on sperm more than what the grand scheme of what I'm trying to do. The point of this isn't because I'm like cherishing my semen. I could care less about the semen part. I'm trying to really readjust the dynamics of my relationships with women. I'm trying to gain a new respect for relationships with women and how I approach their feelings, especially for my daughter's sakes. I don't want to have the mentality of only understanding how to interact with women based off of a sexually driven motive. And I feel like that's important with having daughters because I don't want my daughters to go after men who approach them with sexually driven ulterior motives. I want them to understand what men are like that want nothing to do with what they have physically to offer, but only want to understand them as individuals and people and their own, sex. I want to look at women in a different way besides, okay, I just talk to her because she's cute or pretty or something like that, or I only have a connection to her because I want to have sex with her. Like, I want to take that, and that's something that I've struggled with a lot in my life is like, I really don't have interest in people who I haven't been sexually attracted to. And I don't know how common that is as a problem, but I'm just being honest with how I've been, with myself. If if it wasn't about like a sexual connection or a sexual attraction, I usually haven't really had much of a bond with many other types of women. Like I do have a sister. We don't talk much, like barely at all. We don't really keep in touch well. But before I became, an adult and we separated our lives, like my sister moved out of state, she was a female that I had a connection to. My mom's a female that I have a connection to. My aunts, but we're not talking about females and women that I have a connection to or a huge dynamic relationship with on a regular basis outside of, my, one-on-one relationship with a specific woman. And I feel like I need to put more effort into nurturing relationships with women that have no physical connection whatsoever. Not just because of, what I can learn from it or what I can understand, but because I think I have a lack of experience in those realms. Like, I don't really have much knowledge of what it's like to just be like really cordial friends with a woman. Like, I'm always, in a different place mentally in the back of my mind or in my back pocket when it comes to women. Like, one person I can say that I'm pretty close with and I don't have any sexual connection to is my oldest son's mom. Me and her are really good friends now since, we've been apart and separated for so long. I have a lot of care and concern about her, like just like my sister. You know, we we used to have a really close connection when there was, well, not just like my sister, but just like, well, how me and my sister used to have a connection but don't now. Me and Steph used to be really close when we were physically active, and we're not now. But we still talk, we still keep in touch, and like when she's going through stuff, she still is comfortable to talk to me about things, but not the way we used to. And I would like to have more female friends that I can, go to for advice besides like my mom, because I think her advice is kind of biased, because she's always looking out for my best interests, and sometimes she doesn't understand that I'm looking out for another person's best interest because I care about them. So she's not always the best person to ask about certain things. It's not a bad thing. It's just, there's certain things that are good to ask about and certain things that are just probably useless information. But I want to get a better understanding of how to be a not just a role model for my sons on how to be with women, because I know that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and I know having 5 sons that they're gonna struggle with figuring out how to, well, if they do, I'm not gonna speak on what they will do because they're their own people, but if they do come to a point in life where they start to realize they're struggling with what type of connection to nurture with a girl, I don't want to promote them. I still got my earplugs from working. I don't want to promote them to, only know what I know for women, which is like, what I can get from them physically. And I feel like it's super shallow and immature, but it's just honestly how I've been, for a while. Like, I've been mostly interested in women for sex and the physical connection. And all that's gotten me is 7 children. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I have ample good memories and experiences with women outside of just our physical connections, but I've had a few women that I've been with in the past. My oldest son's mom specifically, Steph, tell me that the dynamic of our relationship when we were together was so physically based that when she moved on, she looked for acceptance from other people in their physical behavior with her. And that bothered me. It's because, like, I don't want to taint people into only being able to know if you care about them by how physical you are with them, because that's not real. These fucking gnats, man. Fucking hate gnats. But her telling me that and making me aware of that just kind of like it just backs up what I'm saying about, how the physical aspect of my life has overflowed into relationships. And I don't want to keep putting that energy into the universe, especially now that I have daughters. It's crazy how having your own daughter really makes you want to reevaluate the connection you have with women. Like, I really want to see how Lacey and any other woman that is a part of my life can value my friendship and my advice, my position in their life without any physical connection whatsoever. Because it's like, it bothers me that more people than I would like to admit look at me as like a super sexually driven person. Even though, as I've aged, and now that I'm 30, that's changed a lot. I don't really have the same like urges and desires and means to want to do it like I used to, because it's like, it's not that I'm just like maturing and my sex drive is like dwindling. It's more just like I'm tired of being looked at as like a whore or like a fucking I don't even know how to, like, just like a man whore. I don't like that image. I really am like a huge relationship guy. Like, I've always been in long-term relationships. I'm not gonna say I've always been the most faithful in those relationships. That's not something I'm gonna lie about. But I am gonna say that, my first instinct isn't to want to get out here and be with any and everybody as much as possible. It's to be in one place with one person and like stationary and happy there. Now, will also admit I don't have the best track record of making those situations prosperous, but that doesn't mean that I have, ill intent. I've spent a lot of my adult life on the giving end of it's like I've spent a lot of my adult life on the giving end of making other people I'm in a relationship with feel, appreciated, loved, and respected. But at the same time, it's like the old saying goes: you give someone an inch and they take a mile. I don't know if maybe I have too high of expectations, or I assume that the things I do are supposed to be returned in a certain way, or I feel like I've set myself up for failure a lot when I try to do so much for another person's happiness that I neglect my own, or I don't consider my own very important. And that's something else I want to fix. A lot of things that I see happening from this resolution is people assuming that I'm this way because I'm too good, or I'm trying to be, super like selective, which is right, because I firmly believe like I can't love someone correctly until I love myself correctly. And I think taking my focus away from all of this female sex drive lifestyle is going to help me see the love I should have for myself, instead of chasing this fantasy fairy tale sexual dragon that I'll never catch. And I think I've just really just experienced enough in the time that I have been sexually active to understand that a break and like a pause is not gonna hurt me. You know, a portion of time set aside to reflect will not hurt me. Like, I really need to get my bearings back on like what my interests are, what my actual, focus should be on. I mean, I don't know. I really would just like to see how it changes me in like the right ways. I don't want to sit here and act like it's gonna be some walk in the park or stroll down the sidewalk, because I know that's gonna honestly, at this point, after doing the whole smoking thing and it just getting thrown out, just tossed out the window and not being that huge of an issue, I'm starting to think that this next one, the no sex and the semen retention, is gonna be the one that's gonna really have me in some tears. And I keep thinking to myself about all the memes that I read on like different social medias where they're like, day so and so without sex, I ate a Popeyes biscuit just to feel myself choke. And it's like, that's gonna be me, man. That is gonna be me. Like, I am really gonna be counting the days, because like the urges for that are so much stronger for me. And it's like, it's really difficult when you really don't need someone else there to get yourself off. Like, you can really just, find you a little bit of space and go in the bathroom or da 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 da, and take care of yourself. But to refrain from any of that, for me, Mr. Seven Kids, I'm gonna be running around like Pookie. It's gonna Pookie me. It'll probably Pookie me. But that's okay. That's okay. I need to put these earplugs in the trash. That's okay, because those things that make me Pookie-ish are the ones that I'm trying to get rid of, because I felt like Pookie for smoking as long as I did. I never liked smoking. I just did it because it was like a social thing. I definitely never thought, growing up. Like, it's crazy because my mom, and sometimes I think, some kind of bread was broken on me or some kind of witchcraft was done. But my mom used to tell me, like, she wouldn't just tell me, she would tell people that I was with, like my girlfriends or girls that I was talking to. She would tell them that I had a sex demon. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, Mom, that's a little much, but why you gotta tell them that? Like, that's not what nobody want to hear. And especially me, because it's like, I'm over here like, maybe you just think that because I'm a boy and you're a female and you've been alone my whole life. You've never been with a man or had a boyfriend my whole life. And you just don't have the interest the way I do. I mean, men and women have a different type of sex drive, but she's always made me feel super self-conscious about my sex drive and sex capades, because she's like total opposite of me. And a lot of my life I always assumed it was because she was a woman and I'm a man. But at 30 with 7 kids, I might have a little bit of a sex demon going on that we're gonna have to get rebuked, because I can't afford to keep this demon around. This demon got to go. But I'm not gonna look at it as a demon. I'm just gonna look at it as something that I've went an extended period of time with a lack of discipline for, and we're gonna fix it with discipline, with new discipline. And like I said, I'm sure I'm sure there are going to be some tough times, some serious urges, some hard nights to, stick to the script. But just like I said, I started this the right way, and I'm positive that the smoking was way much more of an addiction, way much more of an way much more of an unhealthy addiction to want to kick first, and way harder. But now that that's gone, I feel confident in my abilities to not just go all of February, but just like the smoking, even after January's over, I'm still not smoking. But even after February's over, I don't know if I'll go until the end of the year, but I will go to at least the end of the year without having sex. And I don't know how far past that I'm going to be able to go, but I will definitely try to keep this going until the end. Every resolution that I do in this series is going to stay until the end of the year, till December 31st, 2022. So I think after February, I'm going to start either the working out on a regular basis or the diet, or some type of diet, because I got to get into like the burning clean. I got to get either the exercise going, which work hand in hand. These will probably be the same for 1 month, but I want to either get like the no fast food thing going for 1 month and keep that alive for March, or start working out. But I'm definitely going to start going after my health and stuff like that next. But I'm at 37 minutes, so I'm going to get off here and get this uploaded so I can get me something to eat. And I'm not going to lie, I'll probably take advantage of these last few days of, if you don't know, I mean, I'm probably going to do some self help until February rolls around. I got about 2 more days, so it's kind of embarrassing, but hey, that's where we are right now. Anyway, I hope this video helps somebody, and I hope you guys don't judge me, but you probably will. And I'm gonna get this uploaded as soon as possible. And as always, thanks for watching. And I hope to see you again on the next episode. We'll be here same time tomorrow. Well, probably earlier tomorrow. Definitely getting the kick game review out this weekend. I don't know if I'm gonna record it tonight, but I will get one recorded this weekend for sure. Today being Saturday and me just getting off work at 11:30, I doubt I'll get it done tonight, but it'll definitely be this weekend. So stay tuned for that. And other than that, as always, much love, much appreciation. Adios.